everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Happy Sunday, I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far, and thank you so much for joining me here today. Are we surprised that we're building in Copperdale again? Absolutely not, but we are building on the 20 by 20 lot, which is just, it's kind of like out in the middle of nowhere near a lake, I think I would probably class it as, and we are building another autumnal house. I did do my very first autumnal build for the channel for this year last week. I'll pop a card up in the right hand corner for you now. If you haven't seen that one already, please consider checking that one out. But I'm still on my autumnal kick, so I decided to build this little autumnal house, which is 3 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms, I would class it as. And that's just because the toilet downstairs is a toilet and a sink, and then upstairs is the main family bathroom. But I can't wait to show you the inside. But we are currently working on the exterior of the building. If I can find the reference image that I used for this build, I will pop it up on screen for you now so that you can see what I was kind of working towards in terms of the shape. But as I was saying, it's autumnal, so I added all these autumnal sort of vibes with the colours and the landscaping and everything like that. I'm so in the autumn mood right now. I did talk about this last week as well, but I've just started decorating my house in real life, ready for autumn and Halloween, and I'm just trying to get into the vibe because it is still very warm in the UK right now. Please let me know what the weather's like where you currently are, but it's very warm right here right now for us, and I'm over it. I talked about this last week. I'm so over it. So my sort of theory is, if I can start with the Halloween and autumn stuff, then maybe I'll feel a bit cooler. I know it sounds absolutely insane, it's just the way that I'm thinking. Anyway, I love the vibes of this house. It's definitely very different from the first autumnal house that I've done on the channel. That one was definitely very much more stereotypically autumnal. I feel like this one is more subtly autumnal, so it's nice to sort of see how we can do different variations of the same season. And then what's also really good about this build is that well, you might not think it's good, I do. I did create this house for a family of 4. So there's mum and dad, and then there's their 2 teenagers, and I envisioned that they had a boy and a girl, and their rooms are quite small. This is a family that I envisioned. They don't have a lot of money, they just love spending time together. They don't want or need a lot of space, but they make the best of what they have. So it was really nice to see how I could sort of integrate some of the high school years beds for the teens and sort of create some smaller spaces, because I think more often than not I do create slightly larger family houses, but it's been nice for the past couple just to do smaller or medium-sized houses, just for a bit of a change for me. So we'll talk a bit more about that when we go onto the upstairs. So as you can see, the exterior, the colour scheme, the shape, it's already taken form, and this is pretty much what we get at the end. I do my usual, and I go through a lot of different changes throughout the build. Some of the more subtle changes I don't include within the footage because it's very much me going backwards and forwards on colour swatches and changing very minor things like the flower beds outside and certain just little intricate details that like probably most people wouldn't pick up on. I just sort of changed some stuff off camera, which is not unusual for me at all. It's just something that I'll start fiddling around with something, and I think the more I look at something, the more I grow to not enjoy it or not like it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to learn to step away from a build once I've done it and just be like, just be happy with it. Just be happy with this because it looks good. But me being me, and just having that perfectionist in my personality, I think it's just one of those things. So this is the landscaping. It's very similar to landscaping that I've been doing I'm having a look at my builds for the past, I'd say, month or 2, and it's very, very similar, and I'm okay with that because I think I've finally found sort of like a landscaping basis that works for me and my builds. I do have a few days off work. We're just talking about this. I do have a few days off work next week, and I am planning on doing some tutorial videos on camera, hopefully, and that's going to be really exciting. I think the first one that I'm going to do is either going to be landscaping, roofing, or floor plans. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do yet, but it is going to be a series on the channel, so I will cover off as much as we need to. So I'll cover everything off. It's just I'm trying to work out where to sort of start with that. So I know a lot of you, it's between, as I said, landscaping, roofing and floor plans. So yeah, we'll just have to sort of see. And it's going to be more of a tutorial of how I approach stuff. It's not necessarily going to be this is the only way to do it. It's going to be more this is how I do things. And if you are looking for something like that, then that's going to be perfect for you. As I've been having a bit of a ramble, as you can see, the house is looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. And this lighting, currently we are working in a heat wave as the sun is setting during autumn in the game, and I just think it looks absolutely stunning. This is what I was referring to in terms of like messing around with certain things and then deleting them and then going back and adding them. I have decided to keep some of this within the footage just so that you can sort of see how my mind processes things as I'm building, because I talk about this a lot as well. It's not always as easy as, oh, it just comes really easily. It's not like a first try and it's there sort of thing. It's definitely, especially for me, a backwards and forwards game. Sometimes it comes really easily to me and I'm like, that's come really easily, how strange. But with this particular build, I was getting stumped over the silliest things. The flower boxes on the outside of the build is just one of them, and then I'm looking back now and I'm thinking, did I need to add flower boxes, or is it nice without the flower boxes? I cannot tell you the last time I built a house that didn't use flower boxes. So I think for me it's like a comfort thing, like a security blanket. So it's hard for me not to include things like that. But anyway, so yeah, this is pretty much me just having a faff around with some different detailing. And because the house is slightly smaller than what I'm used to building, again, a little bit uncomfortable for me. So I feel like I sometimes overcompensate with certain detailings within either landscaping or adding detailings just to the building itself. And this is probably one of those moments where I've definitely done just that, and I'm trying to see what works visually, what doesn't work, what color schemes we're going to be going for. Obviously, as you can see, it's quite soft with the sort of pale wood against the sort of more orange paneling, and then along with some like really rustic brickwork. And I definitely wanted to continue that throughout the interior of the build as well. So what you'll find is, compared to my other autumnal family house, I'm going to be comparing them because that's one that I've just done last week. This is definitely more subtle, and the tones inside the house are a lot more neutral, a lot more mellow. The other one was kind of in your face, and it was like, whoa, this is autumn. And whilst there are elements of that within this house, it's definitely a more toned down version, or a watered down version, if you will. Then I was looking at the house and thinking there's something missing, so I do add this chimney here. The house has a total of 3 chimneys for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I tend to add at least 2 chimneys to my builds. I've no idea why at this point. I think, again, it's like a comfort thing that I've just been doing for ages, and now I just keep doing it. So this is the floor plan of the house. As you can see, it's not particularly big, but this is the living room on the right, the kitchen on the left, and then a small toilet at the back. It's nothing too complex, and I just feel like I was trying to utilize the space as best as I could because we didn't have a lot of space to work with. So I think for me, again, it's kind of a challenge to do houses of this size because I'm just not used to it. So you can see here we've gone for the softwood herringbone flooring, which I know sounds crazy, but it matches the windows perfectly, so I thought that kind of tied in. And then we've chosen this really nice warm browny sort of toned paint. Then this is my first attempt at the living room. This is very quickly scrapped because it wasn't doing anything for me at all. This is actually my 3rd or 4th attempt, but I did the other 2 attempts off camera because it was embarrassing. So I included this because I think it's an important part of the process for me to sort of see how I get these ideas in my head and how I start to build on things. But it's a very unusual shaped living room, and we've obviously got a bay window on either side, front and the back here. Then we've got like this sort of bump out bit that comes out here. So I was just trying to work out what would be best. And looking back, I probably could have added a dining table in here, so it could have been like a living room, dining room sort of room. If you want to do that, please do so, but there is a dining room table in the kitchen, so then I'm thinking, oh, there's no real need for that. So a lot of the space in here is decorative. Fantastic for gameplay if you're looking to have house parties, a Halloween party maybe, or celebrating seasonal activities like Winterfest and anything like that. Then I was thinking, okay, are we going to do kind of cheesy? Are we going to do cheesy autumnal vibes in this house? And I decided against that because I just didn't like the way it looked. So it took me so long to pick out rugs and sofas and chairs and a fireplace that I was actually happy with, but we do end up switching out this fireplace for one from the Parenthood pack instead, and then I put a TV above it, but that is coming very shortly. So it took me a long time to get this living room together, an embarrassing amount of time actually, because I'm looking at the footage and this definitely took up more of my time than I'd realised. But it was a lot of fiddling around, a lot of me just again messing around with stuff like moving things, changing the swatch, swapping it out. It's just, sometimes it's exhausting being in my own head, but it's the way that my brain operates when I go through a build sometimes. And I actually did the living room yesterday and then I finished off the rest of the build today, so it's taken me a few days, I think, to get this together, but out of choice. I could have definitely sat down and done this in one sitting, but it's very rare that I do that with a build. It's very, very rare that I'll sit down and do a build in one sitting because I like to step away. I like to post work in progress shots on my social medias, and I like to sort of gauge how you guys are feeling about it, and then it gives me an opportunity to figure out how I feel about it as well. You know, do I like the way it looks? Is there something that I need to change? Ooh, I don't like the lighting, it looks a bit harsh, I'll need to change the... Honestly, it's just me being an overthinker. Anyway, so what I decided to do in this little bay window here was I added a really comfortable armchair that I do end up swapping out for the one from the Cats and Dogs pack, I believe. That's also from the Cats and Dogs pack, but it's the one with the lower back. So I do end up swapping that one out there, but I just think it works a lot better. And then this is me trying to fiddle around with the fireplace, and I tried adding a TV and then I was like, it just doesn't look right, so I thought I'll come back to that, it'll be all right. So then over here I was going to put a family computer over here, and then I decided just to put this little hallway table here with some decorative pieces on, ready for the autumn. What I would do if it was me, if your family want to celebrate Winterfest, I would delete this and put a Christmas tree in the window. It would be so magical. I can't wait to do my Christmas builds. I'm very excited, but I'm trying to, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm trying to just enjoy autumn this year, because this time last year we were actually moving house, and I don't feel like I know it sounds really weird, but I don't feel like I actually got to enjoy autumn. I know I did a couple of autumnal builds last year, but I think I did like 2 just because I didn't have the time, and this year I absolutely have the time to do it, so I definitely want to immerse myself as much as I can. I do want to do an autumnal cottage in Henford on Bagley. I've already got some ideas together on Pinterest, so I can't wait to start that one. So that's going to be coming very shortly, and then I'll be doing some non-autumnal builds as well, because then I think I'm likely to get bored of the autumn houses. As much as I love them, I'm likely to get bored. Anyway, as you can see, we have also swapped out the sofa to this one from the loft kit, industrial loft kit. And I think it just works a lot better than the other one. I prefer like the softer colour, and then it's got the checkered throw just over the right hand side, which I think gives this really cozy vibe. And then this is the change of the fireplace. This works a lot better in my opinion. You'll have to let me know what you think. Did you prefer the cottage living one? I personally prefer this one. It's just a really nice size. It comes in some fantastic swatches, and it means you can put a television on top as well, and you can add decorative items on top as well. This is the kitchen. I really enjoyed doing this room actually, and I think this is the first time ever, I know it sounds really minor, it's the first time ever that I haven't used any tiling in a kitchen. I just went for this, again, this sort of really lovely soft brownie colour, and I think it works really, really well. And then I found this rug from the industrial loft kit, and I was like, that has to go in the living room as well because I love the colour of it. I don't know whether I've already put it in there, and it's just been really, really quick. Oh no, it's going in. There we go. I was like, that's going in the living room. So I do move that over as well. Just add a couple of pumpkins on here as well, because at the end of the day, you know, it is an autumn house, so I do add some autumnal decorations throughout and just make it really, really cozy. I don't think this is my favourite kitchen that I've ever done. It's definitely not the worst one I've ever done, but it's definitely not my favourite either. But that's okay. It's sometimes I can't love everything that I do, but I like it enough to have shared it. So at least that's something. You'll have to let me know what you think. But I do like the warm vibes. I like how cozy it is. I like how family friendly it is. And then I spend a very, very, very long time on the dining area, and I think I end up cutting that because it was just too much. I was fiddling around way too much. And I think you guys would have just been like, would you just sort yourself out? So I end up cutting some of that footage, but you'll have to let me know if you notice when I cut it. I'm going to try and do it in a really, really clever way. We'll have to see if that gets pulled off. But I am still adding some decorative items here. Kitchens are so fiddly. They're really, really funny to me because I've started cluttering up my kitchen so much more than I have done previously. And yeah, I've started adding a lot more clutter to my kitchens. So they do take a little bit longer to finish, but that's okay, especially for a house that's being decorated for a particular season. I think the clutter actually adds to it rather than takes anything away from it, you know. So this is the little dining area here. I do end up fiddling with this off camera. As I was saying, I do cut it because it's just silly. And I don't work well with blank spaces like this, and looking back I feel like I should have just added a mirror and then a light on either side, and for some reason I added a clock, but then I think I changed it out for an autumnal wall decoration. I can't remember. Anyway, and then in the corner there we do have a cute little bench. So, cause again, I didn't really know what to put in that awkward space. I really need to start thinking more about when I'm designing the exterior structures for my houses. I need to start thinking more about how that impacts the floor plan and subsequently the rooms that are inside the house, because I feel like I just do whatever I want on the outside. I'm like, woo, I love the outside. And then I get to the interior and I'm like, why have I done this to myself? This is just stupid. So I do end up trying a tiling in the kitchen, but I don't use it. So I cut that footage, and now we are moving on to the upstairs. I'm quite surprised that I managed to fit 3 bedrooms up here. And while the teenagers' rooms are on the smaller side, I definitely added a lot of character to them, and I'm really excited to share them with you. I do start with the master bedroom though, which is unusual for me because I normally end with the master bedroom, so I don't know why I started with this room. I'm not going to complain. I mean, it's a lovely room. It's got a nice bay window here. Again, it's a nice size. It's not too big, it's not too small, but it works. And I do use this bed from the base game, which is a bed that I only tend to use when I'm doing base game only builds, which I haven't done one of them for a while, but I do have one coming because I have a collab coming up where I have to do a base game build. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I'm not telling you what the collab is, but I do have one coming. I'll just brush over that. Anyway, I do end up moving this checkered footstool because while I was playtesting, my sim had a problem reaching around the other side of that, which I knew could potentially be a problem. But I really like that checkered footstool because I include it in 99% of my builds, and I wanted to include it in this room as well, but unfortunately it didn't work. This grey side table from the high school years pack, I love this so much. It worked really, really well in this room, and I just love how it looks. It looks so good. I'll definitely have to start using that more. I think I use it in the teen girls room, but in a different swatch. I can't really remember. We just add a little stool here and then a hanging plant, and then I think I add 2 lights on either side of the mirror off camera. Yes, I don't do it on camera. This is the teenage boys room, and this is probably my favourite bedroom out of the entire house. I love the colour scheme. I also love this bed. I've used this bed in the double bed version so much. I think in the last 2 houses that I've done loads of high school years houses. In fact, I'm just looking now. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I love this bed. I've used it before, but in the double swatch in 2 of my other houses, I think. But I'm looking back now and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my 7th build in Copperdale. I feel like I'm getting to a stage where I'm going to have built my own version of Copperdale, which is kind of exciting. So yeah, I think that's really, really good. But anyway, this room, I love it so much. It is fully play tested. It works perfectly. Your sim can do everything that they need to do in here, and it just works. I really, really like the vibes in this one. And then I go for a complete opposite thing in the other room. Then you'll see me struggling here trying to put the columns on the outside. I do end up fixing that off camera. Do not panic. I just came out of build mode into the live mode, and then I went back into build mode and it seems to fix it. So this is the teen girls room. I go for like a really dusky purpley black theme in here, but it's really, really soft at the same time. It's not gothic or anything like that, because that wasn't necessarily the vibe that I wanted to go for with this room. But I really, really like this. I like how different it is to the other one, and it just works. It works really, really well. I use a lot of items from the high school years pack, of course, because why would I not in a teen room? But I think I'm going to start wrapping up here, because this is the last room of the house. I do the bathrooms off camera because they're very boring. But anyway, you can get this house from the gallery right now. My origin ID, of course, is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box below. You can get them for free from Sim File Share. But thank you so very much, everyone, for joining me here today. Please, please, please let me know what you think of this house in the comments down below. You all take care, and I will see you next week when we post our first tutorial video. Bye, everyone.